Global X interviews social entrepreneurs who tackle some of the world's biggest problems. They are pioneers of innovation that benefit humanity.
I'm Paula Goldman, and I wear a couple of different hats. So as a social entrepreneur, most recently I founded the Imagining Ourselves project with the International Museum of Women, and that is a project that serves to connect and inspire young women around the world to contribute positive solutions to problems facing their communities. And second, I'm an author and an academic, so I'm working on another book right now that's about how social causes tip, and finishing up a PhD. One of the young women that participated in the Imagining Ourselves project, her name is Mayerly Sanchez, and she's from Colombia. And Mayerly grew up on the outskirts of Bogota, and she grew up in a very poor family in a community besieged by endemic violence. And at the age of 12, she lost her best friend in gang violence that was related to the civil war that was going on in the country. And she was really upset, as I think most of us would be if we lost our best friend, especially at the age of 12. And she decided she wanted to do something. And she gathered with a few kids locally and then slowly nationally, and they decided they were going to have a children's movement for peace, and they were going to have a children's election so that they could vote on what their priorities for peace were. Now, of course, all of the adults surrounding her said, "What on earth are you thinking? You're a kid. Kids don't vote. What are you talking about?" And she said, I think we're going to do it. And they did do it. And they organized a historic national election. And a couple of thousand kids from across the country went to the polls. But more importantly, they got tons of media attention. And as a result of that media attention, a few months later, millions of Colombians went to the polls to change and put various peace initiatives higher up on the political agenda, as well as to talk about the use of kids and child soldiers in war. And for this, at the age of 14, I believe, Mayerly was nominated not once but twice for the Nobel Peace Prize. She was not a young woman that grew up with access to privilege or power or money. Her parents didn't groom her to say, like, here's the right university that you should go to if you want to go make a difference and then follow this track. She was just a young woman with an idea. And she didn't stop to question the proposition that she could make a difference. And I also think it's sort of the central message about social entrepreneurship in general. My piece of advice would be to embrace failure. And I say that because I think any successful entrepreneur would tell you they probably just don't go around advertising the fact that to get to where they were, there were a lot of stumbling blocks along the way, and those often provide the most useful crucible for learning. We don't talk about it enough, and I think we should talk about it more, but failure is really, really important building block. And so when you start along your path and you experience it, you should know not only that it's normal, but it's a really productive part of the process to embrace and look at in a constructive way. And it's a really important step on your path.
Global X is also on Social Edge at socialedge.org.